Hi, everybody. This is Alan Fine. I'm here with Jay Stein, who's the CEO of Dream Hotel Group. Dream Hotel Group, as you know, has Dream Hotels in it, Time Hotels, the Chatwall, Unscripted Hotels, among other brands. We're going to talk about that and the state of the industry on Insider Travel Report. Jay, thanks for talking with us. So, let's talk about the fact that you at a time when we're coming out of the pandemic, you've really got some growth going on. Right now, I believe you have 7 Dream Hotels in the U.S., and then 1 in Thailand, 1 in Qatar, but you got 9 coming?
Not all Dream brand, but a combination of our brands. We should open 4 hotels this year. And then we've got about a total of, 21, 22 properties in the pipeline, signed what we call hotel management agreements, which will open up over the next 3 or 4 years. But this year we should get 4 open, perhaps even 5 open. So very exciting year for us.
And that's Dream. But then now we love, and we've profiled a number of times, the Chatwall in Midtown. But now I want to hear about how's the Lodge doing.
Yeah, so those 4 hotels or maybe 5 opening this year, that's within all our brands, not just the Dream brand. So the Dream brand, we will only open the one in Doha this year. Very exciting, in Qatar, and just before the World Cup next year in 2022. So very exciting opening. The Chatwill Lodge, as you just mentioned, will open this spring. I don't know the exact date, but maybe mid-May, early June. It'll open up. It's a very high-end luxury property. We'll start initially with 10 rooms. Shortly, we'll move it up to 12 rooms. Very much a wilderness experience with great food and beverage, and a very exciting project.
We have shown our readers and viewers whatever you've released, so keep us in the loop on that one.
Yeah, it's a 90-minute drive from New York City, so a great getaway, truly on that luxury level. So anyone that knows the Chatwall in New York City, this will be a great sister property in upstate New York.
And the Time Hotels, you got 1 in Times Square, you got 1 for me over here in Nyack, and they're expanding as well?
Yeah, so the Time Hotel has now become part of our collection brand called by Dream Hotel Group. And we've signed a couple of those, 1 in Playa del Carmen, which will be known as Emma and Alyssa is the name of the property, by Dream Hotel Group. The Bite in Turks and Caicos, by Dream Hotel Group. The Your Nature, which is a eco resort in Belgium, which should open later this year, also by Dream Hotel Group property. And so, yeah, that collection brand is starting to grow. You did mention the one in Nyack. Unfortunately, that is not a part of our group anymore. Just about a month ago, as you know, that ownership group had some property problems. They went into bankruptcy. A new group took it over, and they're looking to reposition the property and probably look to resell it at some point. But
so not your liability anymore.
No.
All right, so let's talk about the industry. There's been a lot of focus on airlines and cruising, but what about hotels? I mean, what's needed from the politicians and the government to revitalize the hospitality industry?
So just 2 things. Our industry is just very different. We're not part of the industries where you have just 4 or 5 or 6 big hotel or big brands that take over the industry. Like you do in banking or like you did in the automobile industry. And most people think you do have that in the hotel industry because of Hilton and Hyatt and Marriott, and they think those are the big 5, big 6. But as you know, those are management companies. They don't own a lot of real estate. And they're not really suffering. I mean, they're down, and of course they would like to be doing better. But they don't have the real estate, responsibilities. So they've laid off a certain amount of corporate staff to balance the revenues that are coming in, and then they'll build it back up as the industry. But a lot of ownership groups like ours and many others, names that not everybody knows, those groups have gotten really hurt. And the government has a difficulty reaching out to 3,000 or 5,000 different ownership groups and do the kind of saving of an industry like it did for the automobile or the banking industry in years past. So that's where people don't really understand that those big 5 brands are not really the owners of the hotels in the industry.
So is that why the hotels aren't really receiving the same relief packages, or is there a different reason?
That's why that the industry hasn't received a typical relief package like the automobile industry did. It was just 3 or 4 companies to deal with. So, they've done what they've done. They've tried to do things, the PPP loans and a few others, which has been helpful, but it hasn't been the kind of real relief that just gets you over the hump and lets you build back up once this pandemic is over. So many companies, including ours, have had to make tremendous amounts of payments in real estate taxes and millions of dollars, sometimes a month, to keep the thing afloat with, in some cases, zero revenue coming in, and in some cases, 70, 80, or in most cases, 70, 80% drop in revenue for over a year already. So it's been extremely difficult on our employees, the layoff of employees, trying to keep medical benefits available for those employees where we can. So there's a lot of expenses. As I mentioned, real estate taxes are very difficult. And of course, mortgage payments and other things when your buildings are closed or you're down 60, 70, 80, 90% in your revenues. So very tough.
We just enjoy hotels. We don't think of these little burdens that the smaller hotels have to carry. So now so the politicians, because it's such a scatter project, what can they do?
Well, again, I think on the real estate taxes, and there's been some help in there. As time has moved on, I think they've realized. But the biggest thing they could do is, get this vaccine rolled out. We need people to get on planes. If people get on planes, they'll need places to stay. And if they need places to stay, my occupancies will go up. And the hotels that we have closed, and we only have hotels closed still in Manhattan. And Manhattan is a different animal than most of the other markets. So we will get, once people start moving, and I'm a classic example. I didn't fly for almost a year. I have my 2 shots, and I'm not in New York right now. I'm down in Florida. So, and I'll be in LA next week. So, and also, no one's asked me to get them or help them get a room in New York City for the last 11 months. And I would get, 4 emails a week for favors and questions. And in the last week, I've gotten 5 emails about, some room possibilities in New York for May. So I can tell I'm a barometer for things that are changing.
Well, I know you feel that there's a need for FDA approval of on-site rapid testing in hotels. Talk about that, and when do you think that will start happening, and how long will we need it?
Yeah, in fact, in my mind, I think it's gone already. I think what we really needed was these brilliant scientists to come up with a way to test people at the maitre d' stand, at the entrance to the Broadway show, at the entrance to Yankee Stadium, at the entrance to getting on a plane, and in 5 minutes say, yep, you're good to go. And now you would have had a restaurant with 200 people in it, knowing nobody has COVID, knowing no employees have COVID that are working that day. And if we could have done that in the first 60 days, I think we would have drastically, but I guess we just didn't have the science, to be able to make it happen. I'm sure geniuses were working on it, but to do rapid testing at this point, I think we're going to have, 70% of the people that are willing to take the vaccines will have it in the next 2 months, and I think you'll have herd immunity by that time. And so I don't think the rapid testing at this point really is a big factor, in my opinion.
Technology, the issue pre-pandemic was always, is technology taking away from the personal service? And yet we need technology to keep us distant. How do you rectify that dichotomy?
So again, I don't think we need to be kept distant, in the next 60, 90, 120 days. I think people that are going to be in contact with people that are vaccinated, and I think the CDC is going to come out and start changing its guidance and its rules. So I don't think that's going to be such a top of mind issue when we start going into the summer and into the fall. I think that's going to start to go by the wayside unless there's a real relapse and things change. But I do think a lot of the things like contactless checking and even QR codes for menus, where it's convenient. We were doing many of these things before COVID. because I know if I'm sitting on a plane and I could get Wi-Fi and check into the hotel that I'm going to be at in 3 hours and actually pick the room that on which floor I want to be at on the app and have my phone become my room key and walk into the hotel with my roller bag, go right to the elevator, go right to my room, use my phone, I'm doing that. I don't think it's impersonal, and I have no problem bypassing the front desk. And I think most people that travel, especially for business, and they'll be traveling again, will like those kind of services. So I don't see that as being aloof or putting people off. It's a convenience that they'll want, they'll enjoy. We were working on it, and we'll implement it.
We always see luxury as a matter of choices. So the new choice is whether to interact or not.
Exactly. And we'll always have people staffed in the lobby because there's other things. And sometimes people do just want to talk. I arrived in a different city and I've got some questions, or I just want to talk to someone.
Oh, what a flight I had. Yeah.
And people like to be social as much as we've been forced to not be. We're social animals. And that's why I think when you hear what's the thing that you missed the most during the pandemic, it's I want to travel. I want to get on a plane. I want to go places and see friends and see family and see business, friends. As much as we're using Zoom and technology, a lot of people's lives, and especially in the U.S., where we're so just taken over by work, that we do have a work family and we do have a career industry friends. And whether it was at big conventions or just meetings and in different cities where you'd catch up with people, those are part of your social environments. It's not just work related. Those are also friends and things we do socially as animals. So I think that's important, and it'll come back strong.
Well, I'm talking to someone, though, who deals with the nuts and bolts and the spreadsheets of running a business. And I know that that face-to-face is important, but you also know that there's a dollar amount that it used to be and a dollar amount that you're going to assign in the future. Is that dollar amount going to be the same?
When it comes to sales and my business development team, yes, I think it is the same. I think those kind of, you're doing a deal for a $200 million asset in a different city or a different country. You're not doing that over Zoom. You need to come. You need to see the neighborhood. You need to meet an owner that's going to invest $200 million in my brand. They want to break bread. They want to come to our corporate office. They want to see the 15 people that are running the company. So, yeah, I think on those kinds of situations, that travel budget is not going to change. I think it will change more on the mid-level stuff. And, maybe, when you're in the middle of building a hotel and you want to do a room review and you're just looking at a piece of furniture, yeah, that might be done over Zoom. But when you do the full model room review, people are going to fly over there and touch it and feel it and kick the tires. And so I think there'll still be a fair amount of travel.
Yeah, but isn't it like a pyramid, that the type of travel where you won't change the budget is way up here, but those looking at chairs and all that could be a huge savings by not going in person?
I think that will. I think you will see some savings there and some less travel on some of those things. But we were a type of company that was already doing that because, we're like a startup. Even though we've been around a long time, we've changed from a ownership and building our own hotels to become more of a brand and management company in the last 8-9 years. So, we're still in a kind of a startup phase, and we were always watching those dollars very close and not just saying, sure, go wherever you want to go. And I don't think a lot of companies do that.
Let's bring this back to our travel advisors who are watching. We've got almost 80,000 travel advisors who are wanting to sell your product. Do you have any words for them as we sign off?
We are open for business. People are not, look, I'm not a scientist, but people don't seem to be getting sick on planes. People are not getting sick in hotels. They're not getting sick generally by touching things. That's, you're not hearing them talking about that. People are getting sick by breathing on people in enclosed spaces when they're loud, when there's loud music and they're close and they're drinking a lot. So those things are still a little ways off. But I think general travel, to get on a plane, to go check into a hotel, to eat preferably at outdoor places, not right next to somebody. Seems to be very safe. And I think you're going to see a lot of people travel.
And you guys are doing that in style.
And we've been doing that since last May. You know, we had a lot of food and beverage open. And even through the winter, you know, we've opened places we turned them into ski lodges, even in the cold areas, and put heat lamps out there, and with our electromagnetic sprayers, and we had igloos at the Dream at the.
I saw. We promoted that.
And we cleaned them after every guest stay. It was a minimum $300 to take an igloo for 2 hours. Minimum spend of $300 for up to 6 people, and it's been sold out every day. So we've gotten creative. We all know that people want to do it, and we just want to be able to provide it safely. And it's not that it's easy now, but it's becoming easier. As you know, the numbers are expanding, the percentages that you're allowed to serve. We have more outdoor spaces now as the weather's getting nice all over the country. So I think it's a very exciting time within the framework that we're talking about. And as I said, hopefully we don't take any steps backward from here, and we're on our way.
That's great. Well, we wish you a lot of luck. If they want to see all your product, they should go to what website?
DreamHotelGroup.com.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay. Good luck, and I hope I get to see you soon.
Great, Alan. Thank you so much.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.